Welcome back to my channel. Today is the second installment of our CFA Level 1 learning series. In this video, we will explore the concept of rates of return. The learning outcomes under the rates of return are: number 1, holding period return; number 2, arithmetic return; number 3, geometric mean return; number 4, the harmonic mean. In this video, we will focus on the holding period return and we will cover the other 3 return measures and their comparison in upcoming videos. To enhance our understanding, let us walk through an illustrative example. In the rates of return and time value of money learning module, consistently use timelines to illustrate sums provided so that we can easily learn all the concept. I'm going to draw the timeline for you. This is today, time 0. This is, we can take a 1 year or 1 quarter, 1 month, whatever it may be. This is period 2, this is period 3. Let us say we have an asset for which the value is 80 today, and after 1 year or after 1 month, whatever it may be, the value will be 75. Then after 2 years, it will be 105, and finally it become 120. So this is the data given for us. Now we have to calculate holding period return for this asset. Let us say they are asking the holding period return after 3 years. For holding period return calculation, we should simply ignore the periods. For example, if they are asking 3-year period, just consider the beginning value, which is 80, and the final value 120. Let us calculate that now. So the beginning value is 80 and the end value is 120. Our gain will be 120 minus 80. So this 120 is P1 for us, 80 is P0. That is, P1 is the end value, P0 is beginning value. We get gain of 40. This 40 gained from this initial value of 80. So our holding period return will be 40 divided by 80 equal to 50%. That's it. So this is how we have to calculate holding period return. No need to consider what the periods, just look at the asset value, end of period and the initial period. In general term, we can write it as P1 minus P0 divided by P0. P1 minus P0 is 40, P0 is 80, so we get 50%, which is holding period return. Alternatively, it can be expressed as P1 divided by P0 minus 1. So I am calculating from this term itself. Let us see that P1, I am rewriting this like this: P1 divided by P0 minus P0 by P0. So this will become 1 and we get this P1 divided by P0 minus 1. So we can use this also. Basically this is FV, that is future value, and this is present value minus 1. This is, we can calculate in this manner also. For a detailed explanation of this formula, please watch my video on CAGR, where I explain the concept in depth and demonstrate how to derive this formula. Instead of this asset values, suppose the return is given, yearly return is given, then how we can calculate holding period return? Let us see. 80 becomes 75 means what will be the return for this year? It is 80 becomes 75. 75 is the future value, 80 is the present value minus 1. So this is the return will be minus 6.25%. The first year return is minus 6.25%. The second year, so 75 become 105. So 105 is the future value, 75 is the present value minus 1. The return will be, you can say, you can check these values, it is 40%. The third year similarly, 120 divided by 105 minus 1 will be 14.3%. Suppose only the return value is given, not this asset values. How we can calculate? Let us see that. Let us draw new timeline. 0, 1, 2, 3. Now this is the data given. Now you are being asked to calculate the holding period. How we can calculate? Simply we can take it as, now we have rupees 1 here. So what will be the value of 1 based on the 6.25 percentage, that is negative 6.25 percentage return. So 1 plus minus 6.25 percentage is the value at end of 1 year, sorry. So it will be 1 minus 0.0625. So the value will be 0.9375. This is the value we get after 1 year, because we are losing 6.25 percentage from rupees 1. In second year, if you have 1, it will become 1 plus 40%. That is 1.4. But end of 1 year, we have 0.9315. We don't have 1, but because we lose already 6.25 percentage. So we have only 0.9375. So our value will be, it is a unitary method only, 0.9375 multiplied by 1.4. If you have 1, it will become 1.4. But if you have only 0.9375, so it will become 0.9375 multiplied by 1.4. This is the value you have at the end of year 2. Now, similarly for the year 3, here 1 become 1 plus 14.3 percentage. It is 1.143. Now we have this amount, not 1. We have 0.9375 multiplied by 1.4. So what will be the value? We have this. So 0.9375 multiplied by 1.4, again multiplied by this one, 1.143. So if we had 1, it will become 1.143. But I had this amount. So again unitary method, the value will be this much at the end of year 3. Right? So now we got, again we'll write like this. I had 1 at the end of year 3. I have 0.9315 multiplied by 1.3, 1.143. This is the value I got after 3 years. So basically this is FV. Again I got to apply the same formula. This is PV. We no need to consider how many years, nothing, because we are going to calculate holding period return. So simply we will write it as 0.9375 multiplied by 1.4 multiplied by 1.143 divided by 1, that is PV minus 1. So if we calculate again and check the calculation, we will get 50% again. So if the return is given, if the return is given, still we can calculate holding period return by considering we have an asset which is having value of 1. So we have to calculate the asset value. For example, initially it has 1. After 1 year, it become 0.9375. After 2 year, 0.9375. Then after 3 year, this much. So this will be the future value after 3 year. Then we can calculate using the same formula. This is future value. This is present value. Minus 1, you got 50%. There is an additional consideration here. If we receive additional cash flow such as dividends or interest, we must include those as well in our return calculation. For instance, if we buy stock at rupees 80 and sell it at 120 after 3 years, and we receive a dividend of rupees 10 at the end of third year, we have to include this as well in our calculation. We have already calculated the capital gain as 120 minus 80, that is 40. Now we have the dividend income of 10 as well. So our total gain will be 50. 50 divided by 80, which is the initial value, equal to 62.5 is our total holding period return. So we have to consider this cash flow as well. Here 50% is capital gain, the remaining 12.5%, that is the 10 rupees we earn, that will be the dividend yield. This is dividend yield. This is capital gain. Now our generalized term, the formula for holding period return, will little bit changed, right? Initially how we have calculated P1 minus P0 divided by P0. This is how we have calculated. Now we have to consider the additional cash flow, right? We have to include this one. So this will be the holding period return. So not only the capital gain, this is the capital gain part, this is the cash flow part. So this is the final formula for holding period return. So what will be the generalized form if the return is given? So this was the data given. So we will take it as this is R1, this is R2, this is rate 2, this is R3. So how we can write the generalized form? So how we have calculated here 1 plus 6.25 we have done, minus 6.25, right? So 1 plus R1 multiplied by 1 plus R2 multiplied by 1 plus R3 minus 1. So this is how we have calculated. We can check this as well. 1 plus minus 6.25 percentage multiplied by 1 plus 50 percentage multiplied by 1 plus 13.3 percentage minus 1. So this will be 0.9375 multiplied by 1.4 multiplied by 1.143 minus 1. So this is how we have calculated, and now we have written in a generalized form. We can derive the formula for the holding period return if the return is given. Here the return is given. If the asset value is given, we have already seen that P1 minus P0 plus cash flow divided by P0. So if the asset value is given, this is the formula for holding period return. If the return values are given, this is the formula for holding period return. There are two example problems provided in the CFA curriculum. In example 2, the asset value is given. You can see the value of a stock is given as 34.5 per share. While in example 3, other asset return is given. The return for a mutual fund for the 3-year return has been given. Now you should be able to calculate the holding period return based on our learning. If you encounter any challenges while solving this, please let me know in the comment section.